Hello, my name is Ross Kim Shrek, and I'm here to present Milestone 3. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Okay, so the topic that I've chosen for Milestone 3 is exploring ways to curb the suicide rate in the Republic of Korea. I'm going to start by just showing you some of the data sets that I initially used. The first three are, the first one is actually cause of death based on gender, and then the second one is cause of death based on geography. I also have WHO suicide statistics as well. And on the same page, I put the last three data sets that I used just to show the range of data that I have been using for this research. So the last three would be reason for committing suicide, depression symptoms, and the overall happiness, world happiness index. I went ahead and explored the first three data sets, and I come to these visualizations which don't really make a lot of sense. So it leads me to believe that these data sets are incomplete. The first one, it shows number of suicides just among all countries. Obviously, the countries that are most populated have the highest suicide rates. Unfortunately, so the most populated countries, which would be India and China, are not included in these data sets. So this data set was then rendered unreliable, as you can see in this visualization as well. Um, it does show, however, in this line graph, gradual increase in suicides from 1978 to the present, well, to 2016. This is also has some gaps in the data, rendering unreliable. So what I had to do for milestone 3 is milestone 2 and 3 is I had to implement more data sets. So from data set 4 to data set 36. Um, most of these data sets are from COSIS, which is the Korean government's official website that contains the data just for the ROK, which, by the way, I will refer to South Korea as the ROK, Republic of Korea. So due to the structure of these data sets, which are data sets 5 through 18, I had to convert them from tuples to dictionaries and then transpose them. And that's once again because of COSIS, they have a tendency to be very unorganized in arranging their data. So it required a lot of cleansing. I also had to remove strings in order for me to convert categorical data to floats for visualization purposes. And I also had to remove continuous labels in a lot of the data. So I'm going to show you just a list of the sort of data sets I use. The first one is combined process data. This is basically overall suicide rate in the Republic of Korea, the ROK. I also have degrees of stress, say, for example, generally at home, at school, drinking habits from 4 different age ranges, the way that people manage their drinking habits as well, also impulses of committing suicide. And then I also have statistics on smoking and drinking in the ROK and reasons for attempting suicide. I was wanting to also go into some economics, so the economic factor that could be affecting the suicide rate here in the ROK. So I also have data sets, for example, feelings of sadness and hopelessness, and of course, happiness index from 2016 to 2018. So here are some visualizations. Actually, after doing extensive cleaning of all of this data, I was able to produce some box plots of the relevant data sets. And as you can see, I removed most of the outliers. So this data is pretty clean. Now, the metrics here are, for example, happiness index, global ranks. We also have happiness score, standard error, GDP per capita, family life expectancy, freedom, trust in the government, etc. So here's an interesting visualization. On the left, you can see a bar chart. This is comparing suicides between male and female. As you can see, males far outnumber female by more than doubling them. Interestingly, the number of suicide attempts are about the same between the two genders. And the pie chart on the right is supportive of that. What we have here is this is the general population's trust in their government. So I got this data set from Kaggle. This is actually not from the Korean government. You can see I focused on South Korea. The ROK is significantly lower than other developed countries when it comes to trust in their government. I also have a visualization here of the amount of freedom. As you can see here, the ROK is among the lowest of all nations, especially of developed nations. And what I have here is an area map showing the same thing. Here's a pie chart. So the metric I used, I compared age, so generation, the different generations, what generation tends to have higher suicide rate. And surprisingly, it is people who are over the age of 65. The reason for that are economic reasons. That's what's portrayed here in this pie chart. The level of generosity among nations. So what I have here, you can see that the ROK is well below zero and well below a lot of other nations. And that is also portrayed here in this area map for generosity. So based on my research, I came to the conclusion that I think that one way to curb the suicide rate, the high suicide rate in the ROK, as you know, the ROK has the highest suicide rate in the world, would be to implement more social welfare systems, more reliable welfare systems for people who are over the age of 65. That concludes this presentation. Thank you very much for listening and have a great day.